Boys Abyss manga has finally ended. I've been waiting for this day for a while and finally we got to see it. And I mostly want to give my thoughts on both the manga as a whole and of course the ending. But before we start, I'd really appreciate it if you would subscribe to my channel. I'm this close to my first goal of 500 subs in 3 months, so please support me cause it'll help boost my self-esteem. Well, first of all, what is Boys Abyss even about? Well, Boys Abyss follows the life of Reiji Kurose, a person struggling to find a future for himself because he is burdened into never leaving his hometown. And I'm sure you're asking why can't he leave or why does he want to leave? Well, he can't leave because of his family. With his grandmother suffering from dementia and his older brother being an aggressive and unbearable shut-in, his single mother has to cater for their expenses and put in a lot of blood and sweat to get them by, and Reiji supports his mom by taking care of his grandmother and brother's needs. At first the manga makes you think, yeah, it's good he's taking care of his family. But the manga makes you see beyond those ideals, and this situation makes Reiji unable to dream further than his household. His mother in a way guilt trips him into never leaving her side and he decides to get through high school and just drop out and work for his friend's father as a construction worker. One day Reiji goes to get food for his shut-in brother. He encounters a mysterious woman smoking in the back of the convenience store. She tells him if he can't take a puff, then there's still a lot he can't do. And for some reason the woman's words lit a fire within Reiji. He somewhat opens up to her about his situation and she offers for both of them to die together. And he finds out she is his favorite idol Nagi Aoe from an idol group he follows called Acrylic. And that would be the beginning of both their deaths. What I find beautiful about this manga is the way it uses such a simplistic setup to build upon the complex feelings of the main character. And the black and white art complements every topic or theme within the story. And another thing to point out is just how well written the main character was. The way his expressions are given more detail and care than most of the characters. I felt the weakest parts of the manga were the side characters. Well, not the characters per se, but how their stories were handled. And I don't mean all though, because some characters like Esamori, Chako and his mother were also handled a bit better than most other characters. There are some problematic stuff with this manga like the age gap relationships between Yuri his teacher and Reiji himself at one point, but that's just details that can be looked over. Because I believe the best parts of this manga have to do with how much beauty and depth given to Reiji as a person. At first we saw how he had given up on himself, not looking for a future beyond that point. Having suicidal thoughts but not acting on them, makes you question the nuisance of his character. And with all that said and done, I want to talk about the ending we got for this beautiful story. In my opinion it wasn't a good ending, but it wasn't exactly a bad ending. The story had drawn out quite a bit for this ending, so you'd expect some sort of grand finale. But that wasn't what we got. The setup is something I want to highlight first. The last few chapters setting up the ending had a lot of depth to them. We saw how he had listened to the story of Nagi, and how bad she had it, and he had built the resolve to kill her brother who put her through so much heartache. After finally meeting the guy, he attempts to mislead him to a space where he could execute his malicious intent, but the brother begins to lament on his values and thoughts on what had truly happened. After hearing that, Reiji made the decision to take his own life, rejecting what the man had said. But Nagi stops him, and he came to a heat of the moment conclusion to kill Nagi, but he wouldn't be allowed to do that either. With our main character cornered both mentally and emotionally, he proceeds to go to the bridge as he saw what seemed to a shadow manifestation of everyone who has asked him to double suicide. But Nagi stops him, saying there's no one there. Seeing how cornered he felt, she proposes to join him for the last time, and he replies by asking for her true name. This was pretty much the setup for the conclusion I was hoping for, but after this what happened shocked me. We got a fast forward to the future, and that was the end of it. As if hinting that Nagi and Reiji were in fact alive and married. And then Ryō, the author's self-insert, Chako was basically writing a novel herself. Quite a bittersweet ending, but I can't help but wish they had gone into depth with concluding other characters' stories like Chako and Gen. But I still like the way Esamori and Yuko's stories were handled. I mean, their backstory was my favorite part of the manga. And seeing Yuko finally scream out her hateful emotions towards her son was something I definitely didn't expect. Overall, I thought it was okay, and if I would rate the ending I'd give it a 6 or 7 out of 10. But the manga as a whole was a solid 8.5 out of 10. I enjoyed it, even though I did feel it got drawn out too much only to be rushed at the end. And the character developments were some of the best written I've read. As a fan of Inio Asano, I can say this was a nice visual and storytelling experience covering the inner demons of humans, so thanks for getting here. I put out shorts for recommendations like this daily, so please subscribe and like the video if you liked it, and I hope to keep doing more recommendations and reviews as well. Thanks for watching. Sayonara.